about a minute before we really get into it. So we are live.
Great.
All right. So Imran, thanks for coming, and Ramadan Kareem to you.
Same to you.
With Corona hurricane season, Ramadan, I really wanted to give some things of value to my clients. So let's wait for a couple people to tune in, and then we will get started. And thanks again for joining me today.
It's great to be here. It looks like it's a beautiful day out there. So.
Oh yeah, it's actually not too hot today.
Yeah.
So.
Good for everybody that's trying to take it easy.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for those of you who's just joining us, we are about to get started on today's Facebook Live. You know, it's as always promised, I try my best to provide you guys with information you find valuable and of good use to you. And this week, I'm very excited that we have not only invaluable information, but we have a good friend of mine and pretty much an expert in his field, 13 years for first-party insurance claims. And we're going to have attorney Imran Malik with me today. So if everybody can give us a welcome for Imran, and we will take questions today, and we will be following up on any questions or answers or comments you may have. We will discuss your insurance policy for storm damages, hurricane season that's coming up, how to be ready, how to be prepared. And we'll even talk about, for those business owners, if you've lost income due to Corona. So I think today's message is going to be great. And if you can share it with everybody, we'll really appreciate it. And I think they will appreciate it too. So before we do get started, again, I'm Naif Mubarak with Mubarak Law, and we have Imran Malik with Malik Law. And he founded his firm over 7 years ago, and now has been specializing in first-party insurance claims, and I'll have him explain that. And before we get started, as tradition with my firm, we like to start with some good news. And the Immigration Committee for the OCBA has decided to donate $500, and we're going to do that to the Central Florida Harvest Food Bank. And so that's my good news for you guys today. And Imran is also on the board for Harbor House. So a couple weeks ago, we spoke about the increase in domestic violence. And so it's clearly that's a need. So Imran, thank you for your service to that. And today we're going to talk about hurricane season, which is coming up very soon. If we're not that, we need everything else. So Imran, besides meeting you maybe, I don't know, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you can, for our viewers who are just tuning in.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Naif. It's always good to spend some time with you. You know, I always learn so much from you whenever we meet. And, you know, just enjoy spending time with you and talking to you and learning from you. So thank you for having me. A little bit about myself. I am an insurance litigation attorney, primarily. That's what I've been doing for the past 13 years of my legal career. I set up my own firm in January of 2013, and we handle primarily what's called first-party insurance claims. What that means is, like, if you have an insurance claim on your home or on your business property, and you file that claim with your insurance company, hurricane claim, water damage claim, fire claim, that type of thing. And if your insurance company, roof claim, if your insurance company denies that claim or underpays it, then we are able to represent you on that claim and try and get that claim paid in full. And here in the state of Florida, why that is very useful is because there's a law in Florida that says that if we're successful in recovering for you, then the insurance company has to pay the attorney fees and costs related with that litigation. So I don't send you a bill or I don't charge you anything. I get paid per Florida law from the insurance company over and above what they owe you. So that has been my primary practice.
That was actually a question I had for you. So if somebody has a problem with the insurance company, does it cost them money to retain? Or you said that they pay for it. So do they have to pay the money up front, or is it like a contingency?
Yeah, so how it works is we sign a contingency fee agreement, which says that if we are successful in recovering for you, then by Florida law, the insurance company will pay my lawyer's fees as well. So I don't send you a bill. I don't ask for a retainer. I don't send you, monthly invoices or anything like that. I get paid if we're successful in recovering for you. And if for whatever reason we are not successful, then you don't owe me anything either. So how that helps is because I will usually upfront look at the claim and say, you know what, this is a good claim. I feel comfortable going forward on this claim. So that's how I accept the representation. Of course, consultation is free too.
So again, I can't thank Imran enough for being with us today. We did have a lot of people just join. For those who are watching, we are talking about hurricane season, first party insurance claims, loss of business interruptions. At my firm, we do these Facebook Lives every week, and I want to make sure you guys are getting as good information as possible. Knowledge is power in so many forms. So Attorney Imran, is originally from Zambia. I know that he has a story and has friends and family who we've represented in the immigration process. And I've just come to work with him so many times, even with family members regarding insurance claims. So we call this, are you ready for hurricane season? But is your practice limited to storms from hurricanes, or can it be any kind of damage to your house?
Yeah, it's actually any kind of damage, not just hurricane damage, but, the most prevalent or the most common insurance claim that you see is a water damage claim. Sometimes pipes break in your home, they damage your floors, they damage the walls. All that stuff needs to be dried out and then it needs to be replaced. And that's the most common type of claim that we see throughout the year. Of course, during hurricane season, if there's a hurricane that comes through, then we see an increase in those. But in reality, we do water damage, we do hurricanes, we do fire claims, we do lightning claims, any kind of damage that's related to your home or business property too, we can handle.
So let's say, God forbid, somebody has an accident at home. Do they contact you immediately, or do they wait to see what actually transpires with the insurance company? I mean, can you just give me an example? If there was a damage from a lightning storm, for example, what would be one's first step?
Yeah, that's a great question, Nef. That's a great question. So this is really important. So, your insurance policy is a contract. And what that means is that you have certain obligations under that contract. And if you fulfill those obligations, then the insurance company is obligated to cover your claim. And so one of the most important things that I would tell people is that if you have a loss to your home or to your business, a water damage loss or a fire damage loss or lightning loss, one of the most important things you need to do is called mitigate your damages. In other words, you need to prevent further damage to your home. So what that means, practically speaking, for example, if it's a water damage loss, you come home, your house is flooded, turn off the mains, call a company that will come and dry the house out. Call your insurance company. You need to notify them as soon as the claim has occurred. You need to put them on notice so that they are aware of what's going on. And you can tell them that I've had this claim. I'm already trying to mitigate the damages by having a company come out and do a dry out, or I've shut off the mains, or if it's a fire claim or something, I've called the fire department. People are out here investigating, so that in that way you're fulfilling your obligations under the policy, and the insurance company has to do the same. So it's very important that you mitigate your damages. You notify your insurance company. I always tell people, and I encourage them to try and file the claim correctly and deal with the insurance company. And once you've reached a place where you feel that your insurance company is not doing right by you, or you feel that they're not covering a claim that's supposed to be covered, then you can call me, and I'm happy to help at that juncture. I always, maybe I'm a little naive, but I always hope that insurance companies will do the right thing by their customers.
Right. We would hope that was the case, but if they do hopefully fulfill the claim, there's no issues. But if the client believes, or the individual believes, they're not fully being compensated, or their insurance company refuses the claim outright, is that safe to assume that's when they contact you to move forward?
Yes, that would be the time to give me a call, and I can you can fill me in on what's going on, and from that juncture, I can lay out what your options would be in terms of how you can continue on the claim. And I tell clients a lot, that oftentimes when an insurance company denies your claim, that's not the end of your claim. That's really the beginning of your claim. That's the beginning of the investigation of the claim, because there's been countless, I can't even tell you how many hundreds, maybe thousands of cases that I've handled that an insurance company has denied, and after we've litigated, ultimately they've paid.
Right. I think that's such an important point, right? A lot of times people believe, the good faith of an insurance company or the government or the car insurance, and they take their word for it when they state that they're not going to be covered.
Yes.
At our office, we do car accidents and personal injury. I know you do too. And oftentimes we see people who are being blamed for the accident, and it requires some additional investigation to be sure that, hey, our client actually wasn't at fault, or our client has a right to a claim here. Is there a particular mistake that you see happen that kind of jeopardizes people's right for claims, or maybe, the auto payment, or they miss a payment before hurricane season? What is the number one thing that you see that affects people's case, or what's something that they can avoid? What's your number one tip, I suppose?
Yeah, again, such a good question, pertinent question. I think that inherent in us, as people, as being good people, we try oftentimes to do everything that we can with the insurance company, to provide them with information so that they can cover this claim, because we think that they're going to cover. But people need to understand that, insurance companies, they are in a business for making a profit. And so if they're paying out claims, sometimes that takes away from their bottom line. So oftentimes their investigation involves ways in finding how to deny a claim or how not to cover a claim. And so one of the most important tips I would say is, if you file a claim and your insurance company is beginning to ask you a lot of questions that you think are not pertinent or you're not comfortable with, or they say, for example, that they want to send an engineer to your house on a home insurance claim, or if it's an auto accident case, they say they want to take your recorded statement. And this is the insurance company that is the at-fault insurance company's, the at-fault driver's insurance company, asking for your recorded statement. I would be very cautious in doing that. At that point, I would tell the viewers and people, call a lawyer and have a lawyer help you with that, because the answer to that question is that an at-fault insurance company is not allowed to take your recorded statement. It's not supposed to be recorded. You can do a voluntary statement, but you can't do a recorded statement. What they do is, if you do that during the recorded statement, they will ask you all kinds of questions in an effort to try and find a way to reduce your claim. And that's oftentimes where the damage happens on these claims.
And too many of our clients, you guys are good people, you're honest people, you believe, just tell everybody the truth, there should be no issue. But the truth of the matter, whether it's a criminal investigation, a lot of criminal defense attorneys say is, you can't catch a fish with its mouth closed, right? Or a lot of times people think that it's harmless to provide a police officer a statement, but it's also harmless to have an attorney represent you, right? So if you want to cooperate, if you want to provide the truth in the statement, there's nothing wrong with that, but at least protect yourself and have an attorney present and secure the claims in the future. And that's why I feel like, I say it all the time, knowledge is power. So for those of you who are just tuning in, again, I have my friend Imran here from Malik Law. And, you might have seen his face on billboards around town. So if you have any questions for this billboard famous guy, we do have, I think his family here is our fan club happening right now. So if you do have questions, though, feel free to let us know. And Imran's phone number is 407-500-1000. And we are just talking about whether or not people are ready for hurricane season. Because, in addition to this economic hardship everybody's facing right now, uncertainty, coronavirus, and now we're going into hurricane season, the last thing anybody needs to do is have a mistake with their insurance and have any problems with their claim. So I really thought this was going to be an important segment today for this week, and I'm happy that Imran is here. Now, with that being said, with Corona happening, there's all sorts of changes and uncertainty happening for everybody. Imran, is there anything a business owner like myself or my family members who were unable to open their restaurant or their grocery stores, what options do business owners have as far as the coronavirus interruptions to their business? Like, can anything be done?
Yeah, so at the moment, what is happening is there is a movement amongst the trial lawyers, plaintiffs' trial lawyers here across the country to actively investigate and potentially litigate loss of business income claims that have occurred due to coronavirus. And so I want to lay it out for all your viewers because this is very important, and this is, stuff that is going to be very, very useful for people that have sustained massive losses because of the closures that they've faced. The issue is that a lot of commercial insurance companies issue policies which afford you coverage. You pay for this coverage called loss of business income. And loss of business income is supposed to pay you if, for whatever reason, your business has shut down. And what we are seeing that has occurred over the past couple of months, okay, is that the insurance industry has taken an active participation and an active role in discouraging their insureds from filing this particular loss of business income claim. And what they've been telling their agents to tell the insureds is that, oh, this policy won't cover for this type of claim, so don't bother filing it. But what has happened over the past month especially is that we've looked at these policies, and all of these policies have somewhat different language in them. They're not all the same. Everybody's commercial policy has slight different words that will affect the coverage. And what we're developing and what we're seeing some of the smartest plaintiffs attorneys in the country doing is developing arguments now that would take the position that even if your commercial insurance policy says that we exclude this, there is potentially coverage there. And if we are successful in proving that there is coverage, then your loss of business income provisions within the policy kick in and you're allowed to get paid for that. So what we have been doing lately is we've been actively encouraging all of our clients and spreading the message that if you have a commercial insurance policy that has loss of business income, file a claim with your insurance company. It's going to get denied 100% because you got to understand from the insurance industry's standpoint, if they afford coverage here, they could be opening up a Pandora's box, which is why they're denying everything. But the first step in trying to get coverage is to file that claim. File that claim with your insurance company. They're supposed to investigate it in good faith. They're not supposed to just say no. They're not supposed to just tell you it's not covered. Goodbye. Have a nice day. By law, they have to investigate the claim, and then they have to come up with a coverage determination and send it to you in writing. And when they do that, you can send that to me. You can send me a copy of your policy. I can review it to determine if the specific language in your policy would be able to present an argument to the court that there is coverage here. And I want to be clear with everybody, that this is a tip of the spear type stuff. In other words, there's no long held case law and stuff that we can rely on. There is a handful of cases throughout the country that have in fact interpreted certain important provisions within the policy. The most important one is being, there is no physical damage to your property. A lot of insurance companies are saying, we're not going to afford you coverage because this virus has caused no physical damage to your property. Well, the case law has interpreted that language to mean that physical damage may be defined as the loss of your ability to provide a business within that property. And this virus is doing exactly that. It's preventing you from carrying out your business in that property. And if that definition is held as true, then arguably you would have coverage pursuant to the terms of your policy. So it's very policy specific language, but I still encourage everybody to file the claim, because if you don't file it, you'll never get a chance to see if we can get it for you.
And just to read really quick, I'm sorry. And we are taking questions, and what Attorney Malik has just said, I have a couple questions myself. So just to follow up and to recap where we are, you all are paying for these insurance coverages, okay? It's your right to pursue a specific claim. So there's no harm in actually pursuing it. You want to then see what the response is. In these business interruption COVID cases, it seems to be that they're more likely than not going to be denied. And then you would want to consult with an attorney like Imran. So one question I have for you, and I want to kind of jump back, or before I do, I'll stay on topic, is what time limit do people have? And I know this is a changing area of law. Yeah. I mean, this is the first time most of us have lived through a pandemic, let alone these insurance companies seen something like this. So is there a time limitation on when a claim can be filed? And that question also regarding hurricanes, right? Yeah. So how long after the damage or storm do you have to make a claim? How long after the business interruption do you make a claim? Is there a specific standard, or is it guided by the policy?
Yes, so the answer to that question lies within the policy itself. And what most policies say is that you must give us prompt notice of loss. Now, prompt notice of loss can mean a few different things, but the simplest version would be as soon as you become aware that there's damage that's either related to a hurricane or that's related to a home insurance claim, or in the business context that you have lost business because you've been forced to shut down. At that time, I would advise you to file the claim. The only other scenario that we see with regards to this issue is sometimes people don't know that they've sustained damage. So most oftentimes, this happens on roof claims. Nobody goes up on their roof on a weekly basis or something. Once in a while, somebody will go up there to clean the roof, or you'll have somebody go up there and clean it, and then they'll come back down and say, hey, by the way, you've got massive damage to your roof. You've got hailstorm damage to your roof, or you've got a bunch of shingles that are lifted up. This has definitely come from either a named storm or some kind of a hailstorm. So you should file a claim with your insurance company. So once you become aware that you have sustained this damage, that's on your home, or for example, on the business side, now that you've lost business because your business has been shut down, at that time, you need to file the claim because you have to give the insurance company prompt notice according to the terms of the policy of your loss, of your claim.
Thank you. I do have another question, and the more you speak, I know you have so much knowledge on the information, but I kind of want to provide the viewers with a little bit more. So many of our viewers, our clients, are people who are not American citizens, right? So we do, our primary practice is immigration law. We do some of the car accidents and the personal injury. And a lot of times my clients don't think that they can make a car accident claim because they're not citizens, but that's not true. You can make a car accident claim if you're an immigrant. It doesn't matter. There's an insurance policy to cover. Your status is not relevant here. Now, as far as home or first party insurance claims for a home or for a business, does immigration status matter? And this is for people who are here on, like, they have vacation homes, let's say, or let's say somebody bought a home cash and they don't have status, or they've fallen out of status. Do you know, Imran, if this is relevant to your client's claims, my client's claims?
Yeah, so basically the answer to that is, look, if an insurance company has given you a policy, and that policy is a contract, and that contract is not really dependent upon your immigration status. That contract is dependent upon you agreeing to pay a monthly premium in exchange for them to afford you coverage. So as long as those two things have been met, then your immigration status does not really come into play. If you have an insurance policy on your home, most of the time, if you have a mortgage on your home, your mortgage company is going to require you to have insurance. So if you have insurance, you're going to get coverage. Now, if you've bought your home in cash and you've paid off the mortgage, there's not necessarily an insurance requirement anymore. But the prudent thing to do would be to get insurance. And you can get insurance through any insurance company. They're not going to be so worried about your immigration status, more about, can you afford to pay us? And if you can pay us, we're going to give you an insurance policy. So that should not be an issue, and you should not be concerned about your immigration status when it comes to filing any of these claims.
Thank you. So I just want to remind everybody, we're here at Mubarak Law, updating you all with information, and we're honored to have Attorney Imran here with Malik Law, who specialize in first-party insurance claims, and we are taking questions. So we do have a question here, and I'll just share it on the screen. And it says, if we're already working with a roofing company who hired their own lawyer to negotiate with our insurance, it's been more than a year, are we allowed to switch to you? Thank you, Mardini.
Yes, thank you for that question. That's a great question. And I will tell you without knowing everything, all the details, but I can tell what I suspect is happening is your roofer took a document known as an assignment of benefits from you and has told you that with this document, we can file this claim through our own lawyers and try and get it covered. But if it has been more than a year, I think it's fair to say that you need to speak to your roofer and say, listen, we need to figure out what's going on here. Are you guys proactively trying to get coverage here? Has your lawyer filed a lawsuit? Are you guys actively trying to get this thing covered? Because if not, there are ways that we can get what's called a reassignment of benefits back from them so that you guys can pursue this claim on your own behalf. So two things that we'd need to look at. Number one, if you've signed that document called an assignment of benefits, because if you have, then we'd have to wait for the roofer to reassign it back. But if you have not signed that document, then yes, you could still hire your own lawyer to try and collect the money that is owed to you to get your roof fixed. And by the way, your roofer only has the ability to collect the money for your roof replacement. If there's other portions of your claim that have not been paid, like you have not been paid for your contents to your home, or if you had to move out of your home for whatever reason, that is still held by you, and you can still pursue that separately. You don't need to wait for your roofer on that. So give me a call, please, on the number, and I'm happy to talk to you further about that situation.
Imran, you're very popular. We got some more questions coming.
Okay.
First, we have attorney Suhail, our good friend, and
Yes.
he's asking, do you
recommend
going with a big name insurance company as opposed to smaller policy providers? So
Yeah.
This is a question specifically about the insurance companies. Do you have a preference?
Yeah, so it's funny because the way I look at that question, if I sue an insurance company a lot, then I generally know that they're not doing the right thing because I'm suing them a lot. And it's the insurance companies that I don't sue a lot that I know are basically doing the right thing. So there's definitely, you get what you pay for with insurance. And so there's higher end insurance companies. For example, Chubb Insurance Company is known to be a very good insurance company. Vault Insurance Company. You're going to pay a higher premium with these guys, but they will generally help you and cover claims more. And then as you go down that spectrum, lower end insurance companies, I would say, that are smaller in size, they will tend to look for more ways to not pay you than to pay you. So, I would most definitely, bid out that process and go with generally the larger insurance companies and hire and try and avoid the insurance companies that you see that are more on a local level because they tend to be the worst people to deal with.
In this situation, you actually do get what you pay for, right? So
Yes.
if it's possible to get a better service, it does actually make a difference. I don't want to.
Massive.
You agree with that? Okay.
I agree.
So again, we are talking with Imran Malik on Mubarak Law's weekly informational sessions, and we're talking about insurance coverages. So we have another question, and it is from Danny, who went to high school with me and I haven't seen in probably 5-6 years. Danny, I hope you're doing well. I know he's an insurance adjuster now, so this is very relevant, and thanks for joining, Danny. So in regards to COVID-19, have you heard of Congress proposal regarding the pandemic?
Yeah, Danny, good question. So what we're hearing right now on the ground is there's a lot of chatter about various states and possibly even at the federal level, some type of legislation being passed that is going to force the insurance companies to cover these claims. I personally believe that that's not going to happen because you got to, put this in perspective. you can't force the insurance companies to all of a sudden cover all of this stuff if they had not, in fact, had been covering it previously. So legislation that comes in after the fact would be very difficult to pass into law, because insurance companies and insurance companies have massive lobbyists. By the way, they will fight tooth and nail to prevent any type of legislation. The only way it could foreseeably work, Danny, is if the federal government said that we will provide the funds, much like they do with flood claims. If they will provide the funds to pay for those additional insurance claims, and the insurance companies administer that as kind of a third-party administrator. But to just simply pass legislation that says all of a sudden, hey, by the way, insurance companies, now you have to pay all of these claims, I think that's going to be very difficult. I think the only foreseeable way forward right now is through litigation on the existing policies and the existing terms, and seeing the way the courts interpret the language in these policies to see if there's actually coverage. And just another thing that I think is important to share, because I don't want people to think that, that we're just kind of aggressively pursuing this. What happened was, when the initial SARS virus came out a few years ago, the insurance industry got together and said, you know what, this could be potentially dangerous for us as insurers, that we're going to have to afford coverage for this type of situation. And I'm talking about when the SARS virus came out, 5-10 years ago. So what they did was they started writing in these virus exclusions, and they said, oh, by the way, if there's a virus, then we're not going to afford you coverage. And that was kind of how they started putting these exclusions in. But the issue is, and what has happened is that what we are facing right now is a pandemic. And with a pandemic, there's not just the virus itself, but there's governmental action that's occurring. There's forced governmental shutdowns. And the way that historically these insurance policies have been written is they've been written as what is known as all risk policies, which means that unless there is a specific exclusion that applies, there is coverage. And the investigation now is whether or not the virus exclusion is written specifically enough to exclude this pandemic, and whether or not the governmental exclusion language has been written specifically enough to exclude what the government has done because of this pandemic, and how they've forced the shutdown. And that's where the investigation is going on right now. And that's where we're thinking that there is potentially coverage here for the loss of business income claims.
So Imran, thank you. I know I asked for 30 minutes of your time. We're over. Do you mind if we continue? We do have a couple more questions. Yeah. Okay, so one of the questions I believe you already addressed. I'll show it and try to briefly respond to it. How long do you have to file a property damage claim? And I believe Attorney Malik mentioned that it's going to be in your policy documents, or as soon as possible, or when discovered. So if, as soon as you find the damage, I guess my recommendation and his attorney's recommendation would be to make the claim as soon as possible. And if the insurance company rejects your claim, you reach out to attorneys like Malik. And do anything else there, Imran?
Yeah, one thing I want to clarify on that is that, you want to file it promptly, but when it comes to hurricane claims and hurricane damage, there is a shorter time. It has to be filed within 3 years of the named storm. So you have to file that claim within that time period. Otherwise, you're not going to get coverage on that. But that's only for hurricane claims.
So for hurricanes, there is a statute of limitations on them.
Yes. Everything else, you can file it promptly as soon as you become aware of the damage.
Thank you, SJMC, for the question. We have a question from Barbara. If you are a homeowner and the bank has chosen a big insurance company, do you have to keep the insurance your bank has used? I'm considering this option due to the insurance company's response to past claims. So what recommendation or advice do you have for Ms. Lopez?
Yes, so oftentimes when you get a mortgage, your mortgage company will have provisions in there that say that either you are going to get your own insurance, or if you don't get insurance, we're going to get insurance for you. And that might be the situation that you're having, is that you're getting your own, the mortgage company is picking this insurance company And unfortunately, the insurance companies that the mortgage companies go with oftentimes cost you more, are more expensive than if you find your own insurance. So I would encourage you to contact your mortgage company and to say, look, I want to find my own insurance and I'm going to pay for it myself, and I'll send you proof that I have coverage for my home. And in that way, they will remove that requirement of them finding this insurance for you. So I think that you could do that in your instance, is find your own insurance, let your mortgage company know that you're going to find your own insurance, and you can send them proof. Every year you'll have to send them proof of insurance. And once you comply with that, they're not going to care about, them having to get the insurance for you. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Imran. Thank you, Barbara. All the comments here, people are saying thank you. Danny asked another question. Are you taking on business interruption claims on a contingency basis?
Yes, Danny, good question. Just like how I'm handling all my existing homeowners insurance claims, all of the commercial claims, all of the business interruption claims are being handled the same way. We're offering free consultations. The representation would be on a contingency basis, which means that we get paid contingent upon us recovering. If for whatever reason we don't recover, you don't owe me anything. I'm taking it on the basis that I would be willing to fight for you and get this coverage for you, and get the insurance companies to afford coverage for your claim. And then the insurance companies would pay our attorney fees over and above what they are owing, they owe to you, the insured.
So for adjusters like Danny, they're going to call us at Mubarak Law. We're going to refer them to attorney Imran Malik. You can reach them directly as well. Here's their phone number. And I think the website is imaliklaw.com here. So, we do these videos every week to make sure that our community is as formed and as educated as possible. We want to make sure you guys are equipped with the information you need. And that, unless we have more questions, would wrap up our segment. We do this every Thursday, a Facebook Live. And again, I can't thank Imran enough for his contribution today. And he really is, you guys, a wonderful guy. And if you do get to call him your attorney or friend, you're a very lucky person. So I would like to thank him one more time for being here. And if you have any questions, contact us. We're happy to forward them, or you can contact Attorney Malik and his team directly. They're very responsive and helpful. So we hope you continue to stay safe out there, everybody. And Imran, if you have any last words, by all means, go for it.
Yeah, I just want to say, Nev, thank you very much for having me on. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm very happy to provide this information to all of your clients. And also for anybody else that's watching, I refer pretty much all my immigration work to Nev. He's done outstanding work for my clients and for a lot of people that are close to me, including my family. It's great to see that his firm is growing. He's a great member of our community, and it's great to see him continuing on this path. And wish you success. And so very proud to see how you're growing, Nev. It's great.
Well, I got to mention, I was in my first year of law school when I met Imran. He was getting ready to graduate. And here we are, 13, 14 years later. He keeps getting older. And mashallah, and a new baby on the way. So Ramadan Kareem to your family and those tuning in. Thank you. And we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. We do want your feedback. If there's a specific topic or an area you want covered, please let us know, and we'll happy to find an expert just like we did today. And this way you guys can stay informed and continue where knowledge is power. And at Mubarak Law, your future is our priority. This is why we do this. And thank you again, Imran, for doing this. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week.